Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. For props for today, a couple hard blocks and a soft block will be handy. And I'll invite you to start off down on the back. If you'd rather start off in a seated meditation or somewhere else, then go for it. And if you're coming with me to lie down, you can choose any comfortable symmetrical position. So it could be like a Shavasana shape. If you want, you can do butterfly legs or anything else. And just take your time to get nice and comfortable here. Adding in any props that help you feel just a little more steady. Choose a comfortable spot for the arms as well. And maybe you're not quite ready for stillness straight away, so if you'd rather just find a little movement here, maybe it's rocking the head or the hips or anything else, anything that helps you settle in. And then eventually, when you're ready, come and find your stillness. Maybe closing down the eyes. Feel the weight of the body. Feel the support of the floor. And without necessarily changing anything about it, start to notice the gentle flow of your breath. From your stillness here, gently invite the breath to deepen. Embracing that sense of space in the body with each inhale. Grounding, softening with each exhale. When you feel ready, you can start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, maybe pedal the hands and the feet a little bit. Make sure you have enough room overhead, and then when you're ready, you can extend the arms all the way to the floor overhead, extend the legs long down the mat. Give yourself a full body stretch, maybe wiggle the hips and the arms a little bit. And from here, you can walk the feet towards the bottom left corner of the mat, maybe crossing the right over left, and then same with the arms towards the top left. Finding that stretch with the whole right side. If it feels more comfortable to do this with bent elbows or any other modifications, then go for it. And keeping the right side of the hips nice and heavy, really targeting that stretch from the right ankle all the way up to the right elbow. And take a few deep breaths here. As you feel ready to gently release the side, and you can slowly walk everything to center and then over towards the top right, bottom right. Maybe crossing the left ankle over the right, keeping that left hip nice and heavy. And breathe into your stretch. Gently let everything come back to center. You can release the arms down by the sides, and then add a bend to the knees, bringing the feet roughly underneath them. We're going to set up to flow bridge here. If that doesn't work with your body for today, then feel free to have a hard block nearby, and you can come and find restorative bridge instead, and you can pause here. Otherwise, if you're flowing with me, then find a positioning for the feet that works with the ankles, the hips, and the knees. And sometimes curling the toes up will engage the legs a little differently. Some people can also do this from tippy toe, and that will work better. Maybe robot arms, so elbows by the rib cage, fingertips towards the ceiling. And pressing the feet and the shoulders down to the floor. With your inhale breath, slowly start to lift the pelvis up any amount. And then as you exhale, slowly lower it back down. Moving with your breath at your pace and a range of motion that feels good for the body. About 5 more rounds at your speed, using the whole inhale to lift and the whole exhale to lower. The last couple. And last one. Slowly let the pelvis lower to the floor and take the feet nice and wide apart. Maybe pause for a couple of breaths, let the knees rest in together. Maybe the hands are somewhere on the body. When you feel ready, we'll start to windshield wiper the knees side to side. A range of motion that feels good for your body for today. And the next time the knees are over towards the right, pause here and take a few deep breaths. If you need to slide a prop under a knee, then go for it. Inhale breath to lift the knees up, and then exhale breath to lower them over to the opposite side. Again, make any adjustments or add in any support that you need, and then breathe here. And lifting the knees back up to center. You might take them over to the right once more, maybe one last time over to the left. And then scoot the hips to midline if they've shifted. Bring the knees in towards the chest, and then we'll reach through to find a happy baby. Maybe you're catching the ankles or the feet, the shins. It's still early in practice, so don't worry too much about what this looks like, but find something that feels like a nice stretch in the body. And then from here, as you're ready, you can bring the feet together. Maybe take the hands behind the knees, moving any props out of the way. We'll start to rock up and down the length of the spine, mindful not to put pressure on the neck. Imagine that you're massaging out those long muscles that run all along the spine. And we'll head up to a seat. So when you're ready, build up a little momentum and then come up to find your seated position. Your seat can be cross-legged or anything else, and maybe sitting up off of a prop to elevate the hips a little bit. You might take the hands to the knees here. Take a moment to lengthen the spine, find a little softness for the shoulders. And then with an inhale breath, pull the chest through the shoulders, maybe lift the gaze a little bit. And then as you exhale, you can lean back, dome the back, and bring the chin in towards the chest, gaze down. Inhale to come forward, lengthen the front body. And exhale to go back and lengthen the back body. And keep going with your breath at your pace. And if there's anything extra you want to add on, then go for it. Maybe it's to pause in either of these shapes. Maybe as you inhale forward, you also add a slight twist for the head, the neck. Last 4 rounds of breath here. Last 2. Returning to your tall spine. And then as you're ready, roll over the knees, come and find a tabletop position. Make sure your hard blocks are nearby. And from tabletop, we'll step the left foot forward between the hands. And pause in a lunge, and straight away if you want to bring a block for each hand, especially if the floor feels a little far away, go for it. And you can adjust the back knee, you can take the front foot a little to the left or to the right, listen to the body and see what you need here. Notice what the pelvis is doing. Maybe it's floating quite lightly. Maybe you can help it be just a little heavier. And if you want a little more time here, you can stay. Otherwise, we'll start to flow with the breath. Back toes can be tucked or untucked. You can add padding for the back knee. With your inhale breath, peel the chest up a little bit, maybe lift the gaze. And then with your exhale, send the hips back, front leg can extend, maybe the toes lift, maybe you fold a little bit. Inhale forward to your lunge. And exhale to your half split. Listen to your body, move nice and slow, a range of motion that feels good for you. The last couple. The next time you inhale forward, return to your lunge. And then from here, you can step the left knee back. And straight away, you can take the right forward and find your lunge on this side. See how it feels a little different to the first side and make any adjustments that you need. And then pause here for a few breaths. Let the pelvis get nice and heavy. And when you feel ready to start to flow, you can adjust the height of your blocks, maybe tucking the back toes or patting the back knee. Inhale breath, lift the heart space. And exhale breaths, hip back, maybe folding over the leg, and take it nice and slow. Last 4 rounds with your breath. Final round. Inhale to come forward, and this time lift the back knee and then step forward, and we'll come and find a forward fold. You might start off in more of a halfway lift shape and just pedal the legs a little bit. See what this feels like for the back line of the legs, for the hips. Maybe the spine's getting into it as well, some little twists or side stretches. Move any way you need. And then when you're ready, come and find any version of a fold. So you could stay with a halfway lift. Maybe you're starting to let the head get nice and heavy, hanging low. Hands can stay at your props or they can dangle as well. If there's any other expression you like to explore, maybe interlacing hands behind the neck or hands to opposite elbows or anything like that, then go for it. If you have a bind, you can gently release it, maybe hands to your blocks or to the legs somewhere, and come and find a halfway lift position. And pause here, take a few deep breaths, maybe lift and spread the toes, lower them down, and press the entirety of each sole of each foot down to the floor. Find that length from the heels to the tailbone, and then from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And stay right here for a little more challenge. You can bring the hands to prayer. Any pain or anything like that to the low back, please modify. And stay here. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Now to transition, deep inhale. As you exhale, start to bend the knees, come towards chair pose. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. And then inhale, come all the way up, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. If you're at all lightheaded, keep the arms up. And then when you're ready, you release the arms down to your sides. And find your mountain pose, find your balance. Find that length from the heels to the crown of the head. When you're ready, inhale breath, circle the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale breath, hinge forward, forward fold. Halfway lift to lengthen. And then plant the palms and step to plank pose, top of a push-up. Stay here for a deep inhale. And lower all the way down with your exhale. Untuck the toes, press the toenails down. Inhale breath, baby cobra, lift the heart space. And then exhale to lower it. And twice more. Last one. And then inhale, press the tabletop. And with your exhale, come and find downward facing dog. And take your time to set yourself up. And positioning the hands and the feet where they feel the most stable for you. Maybe giving yourself a little pedal, a little movement. And keep the hands actively pressing the floor away. Find some stability for the wrists and for the shoulders. Let the head be nice and heavy. And give yourself as much of a bend to the knees as you need to make this feel good for the low back as well. From your downward facing dog, as you're ready, and take an inhale, lift the left leg up behind you. And with your exhale, step the left foot forward between the hands. Hop the back foot in close enough that you can bring the whole sole of the foot to the floor, back toes mostly pointing towards the front. And then find your balance here. You might need to widen your base straight away. As you're ready, you can slowly start to lift yourself up. And we'll set up for warrior one. So you can point the back foot a little more to the side or a little more forward, see what feels best for the hips, and find a depth to the bend to the front knee that feels appropriate too. So if you go really deep and it doesn't feel sustainable, feel free to back out a little bit. See if you can find that nice stretch, especially through the calf of the back foot. And you can keep both feet pressing down to keep you steady. It's okay to be a little wobbly here. Maybe find a gaze point to help keep you steady. Adding an arm expression, you can inhale, take the arms wide, and then with your exhale, cross the right arm underneath the left, and you can take hands to elbows, or you can continue to interlace for eagle arms. Steady breath here. Awesome. From your warrior one, slowly start to extend the front leg towards straight, and you can release the arms. And take a deep inhale, fill up. And as you exhale, start to hinge forward and coming towards your pyramid shape. You can find your blocks, or you can bring the fingertips to the floor if that's an option. You might start off in a halfway lift position for the spine. You might take the left thumb to the left hip crease and manually encourage it back in space. See what that feels like. Likewise, if you find the hips are swaying out towards the left, see what you can do to bring them back towards the midline of the mat. And sometimes shortening the base a little bit can make the shape feel more accessible, so listen to your body. Folding any amount over the front leg. And if you'd rather flow with the breath here, you can inhale and lift part way, and then exhale to soften back down. Last couple deep breaths. And then when you're ready, find a halfway lift. We're going to head towards a warrior three. So you can start to bring your weight forward a little bit, slowly de-weighting the back foot. Hands will end up somewhere underneath the shoulders with your blocks on any height setting. Don't worry about how high the right leg is lifted, but see if you can make the leg itself strong, like you're kicking the wall behind. Hands stay at the props the whole time, and you can choose stillness here or take a deep inhale to lengthen. And then as you exhale, bring the right knee in towards the chest, any amount. Like a flamingo, inhale, re-extend. And then exhale, bring the knee in. 5 more with your breath. Last one. Inhale, extend. Exhale, step the right foot forward and give the left leg a little shake out. And then it might feel nice to come and rest in squat pose. If squat isn't available for you, you can come straight to your mountain pose or maybe a forward fold. You can also make a seat with your blocks to make squat a little more passive. Find a version of the shape that works for you and maybe close down the eyes here. If you're somewhere other than squat, then you can transition to your mountain pose any way you like. And from squat, see if it's better to come through a forward fold first, or if you want to come with me, then start to press the feet onto the floor, keep the back nice and strong, and then slowly start to come all the way up. Again, if you're at all lightheaded, the arms can stay up. Maybe you come part way down. Eventually, you can release your arms down, come and find your mountain pose. And find your stillness in the shape and check in here. Notice the body here. Take a scan from the feet to the head. Notice how the left side might feel a little different to the right. When you're ready to even that out, we'll take an inhale breath, circle the arms up to the ceiling, and then hinge forward, forward fold. A halfway lift to lengthen. And then plant the palms, step back to your plank pose. Deep inhale here, and lower down with your exhale. Untuck the toes, and press the hands and the feet to the floor. Inhale, breath, baby cobra. And then soften. And twice more. And when you're ready, inhale up to tabletop. And then tuck the toes, lift the knees, and we'll find downward facing dog. And pausing here for a few deep breaths. If you need a little movement first, then go for it. Only when you feel ready to move on, inhale breath, lift the right leg up behind you. And with your exhale, step the right foot all the way forward between the hands. Hop the back foot in close enough that the heel can touch down. Maybe widen your base, adjust what you need to. When you're ready, strong back, come all the way up. Check in here. Maybe widening the base again, maybe adjusting where the back foot is pointing, a little more in or a little more out. Find a heaviness through the hips, just a slight tone through the low belly to keep the low back nice and supported. Maybe that calf stretch through the back foot. And then either hands in prayer or inhale, reach wide. And this time left arm underneath right. Interlace hands to shoulders or hands together. And steady the gaze to help keep you steady. And see if you can find those nice deep breaths. And release the arms and slowly extend the front leg towards straight. And preparing for pyramid pose, maybe the hands to the hips. Take a deep inhale and lengthen. And as you exhale, start to hinge your way forward, coming down maybe to that halfway lift position. Hands can find your blocks once again. And check in. Maybe you do the right thumb to the right hip crease. You can also bring the hand to the low back and see if the low back is slanting one way or another. See what you can do to even that out. Make your adjustments. Stay in a halfway lift or maybe flow a few times. If you're ready, you can hinge and fold any amount over the right leg. Mindful that it stays a pain-free expression the whole time. Last couple. When you're ready, you can return to your halfway lift and maybe start to walk the hands forward with your blocks. Start to transfer the weight to that front foot, lifting the left leg up any amount. And again, don't worry too much about the height, but make the leg really strong. And choose stillness here or take a deep inhale. And with your exhale, left knee towards the chest. Inhale, re-extend. Knee in, exhale. And keep going with your breath, your pace. Last two. Last one. Inhale, extend. And then exhale, step the left foot down. And give the right foot a little bit of a shake out. And then this time, your choice again, if you want to come to a squat, or you might come to a forward fold and see what feels better in the body. If you want movement, you could also take a flow or maybe a few rounds of cat-cow. If you have a bind, you can release it as you're ready. And with an inhale breath, come to find a halfway lift. With your exhale, fold and sigh. Twice more. Inhale. And let it go. Once more. Inhale, halfway lift. And plant the palms and step to plank pose. And deep inhale. And with your exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Untuck the toes, and this time take the arms back so that they're by your sides, fingertips to the floor. Press the toenails to the floor and then the big toes together. Find that strength. Imagine that there's a zipper between your legs and you're just zipping it up now. And pointing the toes, pointing the crown of the head forward. And we'll head towards locust pose so you can keep the hands and the pelvis down the whole time. With an inhale breath, lift the feet, lift the head, any amount. And think about lifting with length rather than the height, so don't worry too much about the height. And then find a place that feels sustainable and breathe here for a few deep breaths. If you'd like to stay for a few more breaths, then go for it. Otherwise, lower the feet, lower the forehead, maybe onto stacked palms. And pause here, give the hips just a little rock side to side. And we'll set up one more round, so your choice if you want to come with me for locust. If you'd rather come to a passive back bend, so sphinx pose, then set up the elbows underneath the shoulders and you can pause here instead. Otherwise, if you're coming with me, re-extend the arms. You can take the exact same version we just did, or this time if you like, you can interlace the hands behind the low back. When you're ready with an inhale, lift everything you like up off the floor. Think about that stretch from the toes to the crown of the head. Hands can lift up off the low back as well. And then breathe. You can stay a little while longer, or when you're ready, lower everything down to the floor and take your pause. When you feel ready to move, slowly start to walk the elbows in underneath the shoulders. If you're in Sphinx pose, we'll join you here. We're not going to stay, so you can interlace the hands or you can keep the hands flat to the floor, see what feels better for you. And then bring the chin in towards the chest and tuck the toes. And from here, imagine that you're curling the pubic bone towards the belly button, feel the belly lift up off the floor, and then press the knees down to lift the pelvis. And you can stay here in a supported forearm plank, or you can lift the knees as well for the full version. And then breathe here, pressing the elbows down to the floor, resetting the spine after the back bend, and take a few deep breaths. If you want to stay a little while longer, go for it. Otherwise, lower one knee and then the other, and bring them in a little bit closer. You can come up onto the hands, hips towards the heels, and then come and find your child's pose. Add in any support that you need, any expression you like with the arms. And slowly start to lift yourself back up, coming to a kneeling shape, and then you can slide the hips off to one side and extend the legs out in front. And look around for your hard blocks. It might be handy to have them close by, and for your soft block too. Maybe coming to sit off the edge of the hard block, or the soft block rather, and give the backs of the knees a little tap, maybe the feet a little swish. And then we'll set up butterfly legs here so you can bring the soles of the feet together. And then see how close to the pelvis you want the feet, see what feels best for the body for today. You might choose to support each hip with a hard block as well. And sometimes having something to rest into can let those inner groin muscles soften a little more. And then see what you want from this shape. So you could stay upright here, working with the breath. If you want to find a fold with a flat back, you can do that. Maybe leading with the chest, hinging forward, and pausing when you start to round. If you want the more yin style stretch for this pose, then you can bring chin towards the chest, start to round the back. If you're rounding, make sure that there's no pulling, make it as passive as you can. Each of these targets slightly different areas of the back as well, so see what feels like the best stretch for today. If you have a free prop and you want to support the head or the elbows or something like that, then go for it. Picture that line from the tailbone all along the spine to the crown of the head. And with each inhale, picture that sense of space in the body. Imagine that you could find that sense of space all along that line. And with each exhale, that softening, that grounding. And check in here, see if you'd benefit from a little more time. You're welcome to stay. Otherwise, supported by the hands, slowly start to unravel the spine, lifting yourself up. Maybe a counter stretch, reaching the hands behind you, puffing the chest up, maybe lifting the gaze a little bit. And then as you're ready, you can reach down, help the knees back in together, extending the legs, giving the feet a little swish side to side. And then from here, you can hop off of your prop and slowly lower down onto the back. From the back, you might choose to take your soft block between the knees, moving your other props out of the way. And then scoot the hips over to the left a few inches and let the knees come down towards the right. If you want a plumper prop between the legs, then go for it. Or if you want to use your props a little differently, make sure that that right shoulder has enough room on the floor. And if the left shoulder is having a hard time settling, maybe there's something you can slide there as well. Maybe cactus arms, or you can have the arms extended out towards your sides. If you like to take the gaze down towards the left, then go for it. If you want a little more intensity from your twist, you might think about lifting the knees up a little higher relative to the belly button. And likewise, if you want something a little softer, then maybe you're lowering them down. If your head is turned, you can bring that back to center first, and then squeezing your prop, slowly lift the legs back up. And straight away, you can scoot the hips over towards the right now, and then allow the knees to lower towards the left. This side may feel a little different. It might need something a little different. So take your time to set yourself up. And then when you're ready, you can find your stillness. And slowly return the head back to center. And giving your prop a squeeze, return the legs back to center, the hips to midline. And you can release your prop off to the side and then see what feels good here. A gentle windshield wiper of the knees might feel nice. If you'd like a happy baby, or if you want to hug the knees in, or any other kind of gentle stretch, then go for it. And when you feel ready, we'll set up for Shavasana. So see what kind of shape you'd like for today. Anything that's symmetrical for the body, and that can be staying on your back, or you could come to a child's pose or a seated meditation. I'm going to set up butterfly legs once again, so feet together, knees wide, legs resting on my props. Do whatever you need to do to make the shape feel as comfortable as you can. And then when you're ready, settle yourself in. You can start to soften the breath back to its natural inhale and exhale. You can let the body start to feel nice and heavy. Feel the support of the floor. And let go of anything you don't need here. And find your rest. Gently deepen the breath to reawaken the body. Only when you feel ready to, you might think about re-extending the legs, maybe giving the hands and feet a little movement, a little rock or circling for the wrists and for the ankles. Maybe a full body stretch, reaching with the toes, with the fingertips, wiggling the hips and the shoulders. And you might curl the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around the shins, maybe forehead to the knees, give yourself a hug and a gentle rock side to side. And think about a transition up to a seat. You can roll down to one side or gently start to rock and roll your way up. And take your time. And eventually come and find any comfortable seated position. And settle the hips and gently lengthen the spine. Soften the shrug muscles. Rest the hands wherever they feel comfortable. And then take a scan through the body, checking in. Hands can stay where they've landed, or you can connect the palms in front of the heart. Maybe bow the chin towards the chest. And thank you for sharing your breath and your energy today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for Hatha Practice. And my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your week.